The Toronto Raptors are incredibly confusing. Seriously, this team doesn't make any sense. After their worst loss of the season, a game in which the Raptors were unwatchable against the Orlando Magic, they follow that up with a hard-fought wild win in Indiana against the high-scoring Pacers. The Raptors found themselves in yet another hole early in this game. They were down by 13. It was the 8th time in their last 10 games that the Raptors had trailed by double digits. This team really loves playing come-from-behind basketball. Then the Raptors had a monstrous 41-point second quarter and carried a lead into halftime. Then, the closing moments of this game was pure madness. Darko Rajakovic runs a genius play for Scottie Barnes. All of the attention was on Siakam, who finished with a game-high 36 points, so Barnes fakes the handoff to Siakam, fools the defense, and then goes to the basket for the and one dunk finish. It was the exact play the Raptors ran with JV 5 years ago. Then Gary Trent Jr. had a chance to put the Raptors up by 3 with under 10 seconds to go, but he misses both free throws. I don't know what's gotten into Gary Trent Jr. I mean, remember that stretch he had in January of 2022 of consecutive 30-plus point games? Yeah, good times. After the misses, Buddy Hield, who was on fire from deep all game long, had a wide open look from 3 for the win, and it rimmed out. The Raptors survive. What's going on, everyone? It's Luca here, back with another video. And in this one, I wanted to give you my assessment of this Raptors team after the first 15 games of the season. If y'all can be a favorite, please hit a like on the video. It does help it a ton. And please subscribe to the channel for more Raptors and NBA content just like this. I was trying to think of a way to best describe this Raptors team after the first 15 games of the season, and this is what I came up with.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
It's been that kind of roller coaster of a season. You don't know what you're going to get next from this team. We still don't know what the direction is looking like after 15 games. Is Masai Ujiri swaying towards blowing it up and rebuilding around Barnes? Or does he want to push for the playoffs? What's the exact identity of this team? Sometimes the Raptors defense looks good, sometimes it's bad. Sometimes their offense looks horrible, and then there's times it hangs around with some of the best. I mean, the Raptors offense literally beat the #1 offense in the Indiana Pacers at their own game. Then you look at this team's personnel. Jakob Poeltl has moments where he looks like a legit top center, and then other nights, he can barely catch a basketball. Pascal Siakam has moments where he looks like a role player, and then he has moments where he looks like a true all-star, as he did against the Pacers. Per Kurthika, the Raptors are a perfect 4-0 when Siakam scores 25 or more points this season. But we've seen it. He'll have a great game, and then he'll follow it up with a disappearing act. The bench has some nights where it looks like the worst bench in the league, and then there's nights where it contributes in a big way. Malachi Flynn, in particular, was big against the Pacers, and he was a big reason why the Raptors ended up winning the game. He definitely deserved that win the day chain. The Raptors have had some absolute ugly losses to teams like the Magic, the 76ers, the Blazers. They made things hard for themselves against terrible teams. They had to come back from 22 points down to beat the San Antonio Spurs, and had to come back from 23 points down to beat the Wizards. But then they've managed to beat teams like the T-Wolves, who are the #1 seed in the West, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Mavericks, and looked competitive against the Celtics last Friday. We're going game to game wondering which version of the Raptors are we going to get. Their record is a reflection of the type of season it's been so far. Wildly inconsistent. It's like the Raptors don't want to tip one way or the other. They'll have a bad loss that justifies rebuilding, and then win a game that justifies keeping this group together. However, if the Raptors continue to string along like this, they will just be in purgatory with no way out. On top of that insanity, the Raptors have 3 players in Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, and Pascal Siakam who are set to become unrestricted free agents next summer. This is my opinion of this team through the first 15 games, and I could end up being wrong, but to me, this looks like a 500 squad. A team still stuck in the middle, and that's a problem in the grand scheme of things. I still think it's inevitable that the Raptors will need to start the rebuild around Barnes, which is something I've been saying since last season's trade deadline. And you know, Pascal Siakam, especially if he keeps playing like this, is going to garner a lot of interest around the trade deadline. So if you could cash in on a big deal to help your team's future, you do it. But then again, we don't know what this team is going to do and how they're going to look from here on out. Maybe they figure it out, go on a run, and end up being a playoff team. And Masai keeps these guys together. Through 15 games, though, this team is Jekyll and Hyde. Tuesday into Wednesday proved it. Complete opposites in terms of their compete level and overall performance. Hopefully, over the next 15 game sample size, we'll get a true answer about where this team is headed. Because right now, I have no clue what to expect from the Toronto Raptors. It's been chaotic, to say the least. Now, here are some other takeaways I wanted to mention in this one. Firstly, Dennis Schroeder has been solid, and he has done a really good job filling in for Fred VanVleet on the contract that he's on. I made a video this past summer saying that Dennis Schroeder could very well be the steal this offseason, and so far, he's looking like it. I mean, he might end up being the Raptors' best free agent signing ever. And losing Fred VanVleet and replacing him with Dennis Schroeder has not hurt this team. And say what you want about Schroeder, but he's been a major key to this Raptors team and is a reason why they've won a few of these games. And I mean, there's been talk I've seen about moving Schroeder to the bench in order to start and get Trent Jr. going. I think that's crazy talk. I mean, Dennis Schroeder has been one of the most consistent best Raptors players. Benching him isn't the answer. If he was playing poorly, sure, you can justify it. But Dennis Schroeder has literally been one of the team's best players. I think for Trent Jr., what's going on right now, it's a psyche thing. He said all the right things about, him coming from off the bench, and it looked like he was ready to embrace that sixth man role, but I think he truly wants to start, and he wanted to have a bigger role, especially after VanVleet left for Houston. I think he was expecting it, and you can tell in his body language, he's just not engaged, and it's a shame because I think the bench being inconsistent stems from him being inconsistent. Hopefully, he can shake things off, or else I think his future in Toronto looks bleak if he continues to go down this downhill spiral. Lastly, Scottie Barnes has looked really good. The leap is here. I mean, even in some of his bad games in terms of his poor shooting performances, Barnes is still doing so many of the other things well. And I would like him to be more assertive in the first half of games. The last couple of games, he's gotten off to a slow start, then comes alive. But he continues to fill the stat sheet. Like I said, he affects the game in so many ways. He's been solid on defense, and he has come up big in the fourth quarter countless times, which is what you want to see. So I have seen a lot of good things from Scottie Barnes, which is encouraging for the Raptors and the fans. I mean, there was a lot of speculation on Scottie Barnes and how he was going to look going into his third season, and so far, all things considered, he has done a great job. But what have your takeaways been when it comes to this Raptors team, guys, after 15 games? Are you feeling good about them? Do you think they can turn the corner, or do you think it's going to be this up and down 500 type of season? Let me know what you think and what direction do you want to see this team take. Again, your comments and thoughts are greatly appreciated. Your support is greatly appreciated. That is it for me. This is Lucas signing off. Don't forget to drop a like and subscribe on your way out. I will catch you all again in the next video.